Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is Rockwell Stock coming at you with the marvelous May installment of When Good Ideas Go Bad, which will focus primarily upon Iron Man 3 with somewhat of an emphasis on the concept of making a live action adaptation of Warren Ellis's Iron Man story, Extremis. Now, first, some background on both properties. Uh, Iron Man 1 and 2. Iron Man 1. Hands down the best solo hero movie from Marvel Studios. As good as Winter Soldier was, Iron Man 2 still, or Iron Man 1 still tops it. Though, in all honesty, it is close between those two. Iron Man 2, however, is distinctly not as good. Now, in fact, I feel Iron Man 2 and 3 are probably the two worst movies to come from Marvel Studios. Now, Iron Man 2 at least has an excuse, and that's the shoehorned in universe building. Iron Man 3 does not have that excuse. Now, moving on to the Iron Man Extremis story, which was, like I said, which Iron Man 3 took a large bit of inspiration from. Warren Ellis's Iron Man Extremis story focuses on basically Tony Stark discovering a means of replacing the quote-unquote human operating system. It's known as Extremis. He encounters a person with it who proves to be quite the threat to him and ends up, well, injecting himself with it. And is finally able to take down this domestic terrorist. But, so anyways, some of my problems with Iron Man 3. First off, the changes made to Extremis. In the movie, those with Extremis are basically living bombs. Which, that's not what Extremis does. Now, first off, don't get me wrong. I am totally understanding of having to take dramatic license with comic book movies. There are numerous examples in every version of a comic book movie franchise where license is taken and it works, usually. However, it's one thing to basically make a character's origin more accessible, or to maybe change up the founding members of a team again to make it more accessible. But when you're utilizing a specific story, sometimes you have to just say, okay, we're going to actually use this as is, not just say, I like this, but let's get rid of all the rest of it. Now, what Extremis actually does do, or is supposed to do, I should say, increased healing, boosted immune system, new organs, increased aggression, sadly, super strength, invulnerability, super speed, and combination of fire breath and electrical arcs from the hands. Now, after the fact, a downside was added where unless the person has a specific genetic marker, it would kill them to have Extremis injected into them. A genetic marker, which thankfully Tony Stark does have, and I think it's like only 2.5% of the world's population has it. Now, I mentioned in the comic story, Tony injects Extremis into himself. The fact that they didn't utilize this because it made for an interesting concept for Tony. Now, in the comic, he does not get the full, super strength, so on and so forth. In fact, he has Extremis re-engineered just for him, so that he gets the healing, he gets the increased healing immune system and some new organs. Um, but what he gets is a direct mental interface with machines and especially the Iron Man armor, and he also is able to increase process information much faster. It's stated at one point that he can process information at the speed of light now. And like I said, these were things that really made for a neat take on Tony Stark. He had super, but they were generic powers. They were things that really did work for him. Another issue is, of course, that damned kid. Giving Tony Stark a preteen sidekick was honestly a bad move, and I really, really hope that we never see that character again. Now, the movie is not without its upsides. There are, first off, seeing all the additional armors, that was so cool. But on the downside, they all get destroyed. Next, seeing AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics. Aside from Hydra, they are probably the best, one of the best army enemies that there is in the Marvel Comics universe, at least Earth-based. And in fact, AIM and Hydra tend to work together, with AIM making new and crazier weapons and Hydra using them. Now, first downside to that, though. Okay, so AIM researchers have a very distinctive look. It's described usually as a beekeeper suit. And we saw nothing that even resembled that. And yeah, I know it's goofy looking, but hey, they managed to get those goofy looking Hydra costumes somehow into Captain America: The First Avenger, right? Those worked. So why not something that resembles, or at least is a nod to the beekeeper suit? Next, no real mention of any the named AIM operatives. Just a simple name drop, like George Tarleton, who becomes MODOK. Just like a simple name drop, all you need. Now, there's some things that were kind of an upside, kind of a downside. Now, okay, this is going to be the one that probably a lot of people are going to give me grief for, but the whole Mandarin Trevor Slattery concept. I thought that was actually an interesting take upon the Mandarin. I was honestly kind of okay with just, leaving it as is. But I'm not going to lie that I still do want to see a fully realized Mandarin leading the 10 rings, wearing the 10 rings. And if the Marvel one-shot Hail to the King is any indication, we just might see that fully realized Mandarin at some point down the line. Another kind of good, kind of bad, Iron Patriot. First off, it's... Okay, again, some backstory. Iron Patriot was an armor initially designed by Norman Osborn when he took over S.H.I.E.L.D., renamed it Hammer, and basically became America's top cop after saving the world. But he basically stole some Iron Man armor and made it his own, and red, white, and blue, and yeah. Now, in Iron Man 3, Rhodey, War Machine, gets a new suit of armor that is called the Iron Patriot armor, though it's told that he does prefer War Machine. And it was actually a pretty cool look, and in fact the comics adapted that look. And in all honesty, I'm pretty sure that in all honesty, I can forgive all of that because of the fact that at the time the deal that now exists between Marvel Studios and Sony for Spider-Man characters, which Norman Osborn is a Spider-Man character, didn't exist, and in fact, no one knew it was going to exist. So, like I said, it's forgivable. However, hopefully, I really do hope that eventually we will be seeing Norman Osborn in the armor. So, anyway, in conclusion, like I said, I do feel that Iron Man 3 is probably the worst of the Marvel Studios films. I really hope we don't see anything of this low quality again from them. I'm hoping they learned their lesson. And to be perfectly honest, I would probably blame the fact that whereas you had one director who understood the character, knew how to work the character, doing the first two, he left after the third one, and the change in tone with writer and director really shows. And like I said, I just hope that we don't get anything like that happening again. But anyway, that's all I got for today. We'll be back on Wednesday with the weekly TV roundup. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links to my Facebook and Twitter are in the description box down below. This is Rock Roll Spock signing off. As always, live long, rock hard.